Good morning, Rays. KJ here. Today is day 20 in the testimony of the Lori Hussey Daybell trial. Nate reminds us if you add on voir dire and jury selection, it is day 25 in the trial and it's about to begin. Retired FBI agent Doug Hart was on the stand all day yesterday explaining what he found on Lori's iCloud accounts. Today, we are expected to hear from Idaho Attorney General Investigator Nicholas Edwards. And folks, let's not forget that the state wanted to include an exhibit with this Attorney General, Edwards. And Judge Boyce ruled against it, saying that it sounded more like a presentation of a closing argument. Now, Lori is in the courtroom wearing a blue vest with polka dots. Her attorneys are sitting next to her. Prosecutors are at their table, and the bailiff is reminding everyone of conduct rules. Good morning, Butterbean, Fierce Over 50, Aqua Moon, Rochelle Beasley, Angela L., Maria P., Josie Avalier, J.M. Rudd, Carrie Ann, Jet Set J, Jennifer Sukup, Corey Joe, April Gann, CC Johnson 67, Josie, I got that mouse, Tina Reddington, hello, Tina Marie, Old Lady Snoop, Elizabeth, THX, Joe Jordan, Diamond Eyes. Lord have mercy, y'all, it's a Tuesday. Y'all get a load of my poll there? Seems like a lot of y'all want it to be the hellhole of what Lori's all about, don't you know? And this whole idea of yesterday's testimony explaining that Chad's penis was nicknamed Storm, it's sick. It's twisted. And I believe someone did, and I can't remember who you are, but you know who you are. You made a great point in the live chat. These people, Lori and Chad, they were absolutely pathetic in trying to arouse each other sexually by talking about hurting children and all of this stuff. It is absolutely, y'all, damning testimony because, now hear me, all this time the defense has been trying to say Lori changed when she got with Chad. But time and time again in yesterday's testimony of the text messages, it has been Lori that brings up the children. And anytime Chad says anything, they're either in a lover's quarrel or he's trying to get her aroused. She wants to get rid of her own children. It's as clear as crystal, y'all. They're sickos, Butterbean says. Good morning, Gene P. Y'all, yesterday proved quite emphatically, religion turns them on, says Language of Horses. Leave it to the people in the comments to always prove the point. Good morning, Erna Anspich, Miss Frisco Wynn, Shan Banna. I wish Charles would have made a journal of Lori and it was read during the trial. Yeah, we would have liked to have heard that. Good morning, Ron Hensley, Marilyn Pastor, Terry Ward, Carolyn, Diana Hanna. Good morning, everybody. I believe, y'all, even without the exhibit of this Attorney General Investigator Nicholas Edwards, we're in for some serious testimony today, y'all. Just hold your horses and buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm telling you, we're going to hear some more today. In a nutshell, y'all, yesterday and Friday's testimony from this Hart fella proves quite clearly that Lori was on board with all this. She didn't have to be talked into what happened to those kids. And let me just be clear. When it comes to serial killers, one of the things they do is dehumanize people. And then what do? They play with their potential victims. And it's disgusting. It's almost like first they dehumanize them. Then they start to talk about wanting to hurt them, harm them. Lori says zap them. These people are absolutely evil. Evil. Hi, Alex X. And I want to wish a happy birthday to a Melissa Krantz and anyone else that's having a birthday today. Melissa, I hope you have a beautiful birthday. I saw it in the live feed when I hooked everything up this morning. Good morning, Pearl Mac. I hope your day is special, Melissa. And so anyway, we're waiting on this investigator from the DA's office to come in. All the attorneys are huddled on the side of the courtroom. Lori has her back to the audience. Good morning, Debbie Hersko. McJett is saying happy birthday. Butterbean saying happy birthday, Melissa. And there were a lot of you that wished your happy birthday. That shows love in your heart. And that's what we need in a case such as this. Yes, OKJ, I kid around a lot, but it's my way of filtering through the garbage. Okay? These people are absolutely evil, diabolical people. And I'm telling you now, she's going down. And just picture it, y'all. She's sitting at the defense table yesterday while they're talking about Chad's little gherkin there. And all of this nasty sexual stuff. And now she knows that the jury members during their deliberations, they're going to get that whole smutty novel. This woman who says she was a lowercase g, that she was the most powerful woman in the world. Well, I'll tell you something. You'd have to be powerful to take on a storm as tiny itty bitty as Chad Daybell. Don't you know it? Yes, Debbie Hersko, the desire for power has been proven. It's almost like they used the children along with Melanie Pulaski's kids. They use them to talk about their powers with one another, to get each other sexually aroused, y'all. That's sick. That is so sick. Good morning, International Nikki. Good morning, Harley 62. I listened to that audio last night, and I hope the Rays are keeping up on that, because we do. We need a double whammy. We need to let it sink in what exactly we're hearing to get justice through understanding. I'll tell you what, Shanbana, whenever I talk to my husband about this case, he just scratches his head. It's gotten to the point after 2 years, nothing surprises him anymore. I mean, really, y'all, if he'll sit in a little pre-record video wearing a wig pretending to be Zulema, then you know the man is absolutely up to date on all of this. She is. Terry Ward, Lori is evil. She is evil. Fierce over 50. Now, the Rays know that I've said, now I've been wrong many times, but the only way that Lori can do anything to try to sway a jury is to take the stand. There is, what kind of defense witnesses in their case would they be able to bring in that's going to poke holes in any of this damning evidence? Good morning, Bonnie Lee. Thank you, Zoe Archer. The Rays know that I do not make fun of this case. I make fun of these evil, diabolical people. It's a way for me to get through it. And they know all the things that I've tried to keep us moving forward to get justice through understanding. I've done it all. The Rays know it. And just by the way, for those that didn't know, last week I said I erased my videos. The Rays have known this for 2 years. There is no monetization on this channel, and I don't like ads popping up on a tragic case. I have said that I will leave them up about a week to let people get recapped and caught up. With that also said, any of the Rays in here, if y'all see any questions or anything that you know the answers to, please help OKJ out. Also, any bots, any crappy comments or anything, ignore them, report them, or block them. This isn't a show. This is just my iPhone sitting on a shoebox, y'all. This is just an open channel. I owe it to the Rays. They stuck with me, and I'm sticking with them. Now, the attorneys left the courtroom. Now, imagine that, y'all. And are meeting with Judge Boyce. There seems to be a lot more people at the courthouse today, especially members of the media. The audience gallery is full in the courtroom, and many people are watching in the overflow rooms. A phone just went off, and the bailiff is asking who it was. Nobody is fessing up. Larry Woodcock says, "Someone's phone went off. I'm going to take it." And many people laugh. So Larry, he's in good spirits today. And for those that didn't catch his last interview, I'll tell you what, he is a man who can look right into this situation and know every time Lori Hussey Daybell laughs, chats, or whatever, and she's acting all at ease, she's frightened, y'all. She's got fear running through her body because she's fixing to go to prison the rest of her life. Yes, dodging bullets. They have left the courtroom. Does anybody expect anything otherwise? We're liable to be sitting here for the next damn hour. These people, they want to have these long lunches or long recesses. I'm tired of it. This is a triple murder case. And you just put this in perspective. Look at Letitia Staunch and her trial. Everything clicked right along with Alex Murdaugh and others. Now, this case does stand on its own. It's very complex. There's voluminous evidence in it and all that. But folks, they've had all this time. What, over 3 years? Really? And the victim's family members have been waiting for 4 years. That's right, MM. Voluminous. Jules N. Bayer says Lori needs somebody to knock her in the head. Carrie Ann says, "I'd be willing to lend Larry Woodcock my shovel." Maria P., let me tell you something. If she's not going to plead guilty, why would she? Why would she? She wants to cause as much damage and hurt on the victim's family members as she possibly can. If she's going to go down, she can take her speedy trial and shove it so far up in her ass it winks at her. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. Yes, John Shepard. Stop with the 35-minute breaks. Good morning, Erica Guajardo. Emmy Lou's birthday's today, too, y'all. Everybody wish Emmy Lou and Melissa Krantz a happy birthday. Y'all, we've been on this for so long. I'm speaking to the Rays here. Just knowing this is unfolding like it is, knowing the evidence that's been presented thus far, we were so concerned, remember? We didn't know whether the state was going to be able to prove anything. And, you know, it just seemed like from what we knew that was publicly released, we thought this was a slam dunk. But, you know, this goes back to you never really know. It only takes one juror, right? So we're seeing it. We're hoping that this case the case in chief will wrap up so that the defense can do their BS. And then what, y'all? The state of Idaho's prosecuting team does their rebuttal case. Okay? So maybe Melanie Pulaski will have to come back. She's slated to shoot down Lori's alibi, right? And I didn't see much of that in Audrey Baratero's testimony, although her testimony was very damning. The bottom line is it was not narrowly focused on an alibi. So I don't know. You also have Zulema listed. But I think Zulema was released from subpoena. But don't you find it interesting that the state has not released Melanie Pulaski, and the defense team of Lori's they're supposed to have given Ian Pulaski another subpoena because the state released Ian. And so we'll just have to wait and see. I believe that it's going to be one hell of a damn rebuttal case. I'm just hoping that it will all come together. It already is, y'all. Everything's being sewed up for the state. This whole defense, y'all, that's what it is. This is my view. You might see something else. But what I'm seeing from the defense side of things is that Lori changed when she got with Chad. And she absolutely is showing quite clearly, y'all, that she was in this. She was not being ruled over by Chad Daybell. Remember the lovers' quarrel? Chad's trying to threaten her and say, well, I'll take the force field away from your house if you don't put the thumbs up on the text message. Give me a break. I bet her thumb is bigger than his damn gherkin. Yes, Erica Grigiardo. Lori could have been the mastermind. Again, the Rays know my theories, my hypothesis. They were even Steven. They were creating this stuff out of thin air. Thin air. Good morning, Marcella McNeil. Good morning, Dog Mom. Carm, Lori, she probably doesn't think she's guilty. When she's telling Summer Shiflett on that phone call, yes, Summer, it is bad. It is bad. That is consciousness of guilt. Make no mistake. The woman is a serial killer. And so is Chad Daybell and Alex Cox. And you can throw all these other crazy-ass cult members in with it as well. Now, I don't know why the attorneys have got to meet in judges' chambers, because the judges already ruled that this DA investigator, Edwards, cannot have this exhibit. So I don't know if they're trying to talk the judge into something else or what. Margaret Neeson Gray, you haven't missed anything. The parties, the state and the defenses, went into Judge Boyce's chambers. They could just be talking about how they're going to lay things out scheduling today. Or this could be another stupid thing that we got another side road to go down. Jax, they all stood in the circle. Every damn one of them. And every damn one of them heard the name JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. Melanie Gibb and David Warwick can talk their crap all they want. Zulema can as well. The bottom line is Audrey Bartario makes it very clear. Very clear. And you know what really disappoints the hell out of me? Is they didn't get testimony from Melanie Pulowski. She is absolutely knee-deep in shit, as far as I'm concerned. I did. I checked that out. The Letitia Staunch sentencing and that judge, what he had to say to her, I thought was very appropriate, but I couldn't help y'all. I couldn't help but think, wouldn't it be nice when Lori is convicted that Judge Boyce might come out with a narrative? It's highly unlikely. He just seems to, he would be the one that be like, here's your sentence, goodbye. But I would like it if Judge Boyce would go down this road telling her how much of a child killer she is and how she has defamed and warped anybody and all's decision to have religious beliefs or belief systems. Folks, anyone can believe whatever the hell they want to believe. Lori and Chad believed all this crap, or at least that seemed like what it was. But really, ultimately, I think it was just a mechanism to get them horny, to get them feeling powerful. That's what I think. It was, y'all know it. You know what I'm talking about. When you first get with somebody, okay, now, y'all know what I'm talking about here. You got all this damn energy. You're horny as hell. You're just excited. You're in lust. And the reason that kind of tapers off over time is because if people stayed in that, what you call a honeymoon phase of a relationship, you'd burn each other out. You'd be dead on the floor. After getting to know somebody a while, that kind of dissipates. It's not as strong as when you first meet them. These are just my views. Now, the attorneys just walked into the courtroom, and Lori's writing on her yellow notepad. Defense attorney Jim Archibald has said the defense team would not decide whether Lori will take the stand and testify until the prosecution rests. Yes. Y'all, he isn't coming out and saying Lori will not testify, y'all. I'm telling you, she's going on the stand. This is her last-ditch effort, y'all. Olive's going, oh my gosh, y'all. Let me repeat it. Defense attorney Jim Archibald has said the defense team would not decide whether Lori will take the stand and testify until the prosecution rests. K-Tech, wow. Fierce over 50, oh boy. Goodwill Squatter says, oh snap. Ron Henley says, I think you're right, KJ. OMG says, just looking. Oh my gosh, y'all. Yeah, Margaret, Lori wants her close-up. She wanted her speedy trial. Her attorneys were not ready for any of this. You know how John Thomas has been this whole time. He don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. I'm telling you, y'all, Lori Hussey Daybell is taking the stand. And if I'm wrong, y'all can all come back and say, KJ, why'd you get our hopes up? Y'all, I'm telling you, Diamond Eyes is going, dang. Oh, wow, says Maria Burks. She wants her say, says Ann Gibson. Y'all know it. Oh, my goodness. What could she say, y'all? Stephanie B. says, I knew it. Now, listen, I ain't saying Lori's for sure taking the stand, but Archie hasn't made a decision. He's made it clear. Now, Boyce is on the bench, and the jurors are being brought in. And you just need to ask that question to yourself. Is Lori got enough hair on that dang nasty-ass thing of hers? What the hell, to take the stand after the prosecution rests its case? I guess we're going to find out, ain't we, folks? We're going to find out. And I hope she's chewed up and spit out. I don't even know who I would want to cross-examine her. I'd say I'd want Lindsay Blake to do it. No offense to Rob Wood or Rachel Smith or Tanya Rollins or this other fellow, what's his name, Ramal or whatever. I'm thinking Lindsay Blake ought to go to town on her, don't y'all think? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Artie and AC says Lori's probably whispering that she wants to. Go on the stand. Yes. Lindsay Blake is going to do it to it, y'all. She does. She gets to cross-examine. Yes, she does, DD. Lindsay Blake rules. She did an excellent opening statement, y'all. Carrie Ann's going, yes. Now, listen, y'all. I ain't trying to get your hopes up. I'm just saying that Archibald said they ain't made a decision. He could have very well come out and said, she won't be taking the stand. Okay? But he didn't do that. And ultimately, y'all, she's got to be able to actively play a role in her defense. She wanted her speedy trial, and she probably wants to go on the stand and say how much of a victim she is. I just believed everything Chad said. I didn't know no better. I was so vulnerable. I had a deep abiding faith, and Chad just kept on me. That text message where he said he was going to take the force field away from my house. I got scared. And Chad he was verbally abusive toward me. And you could consider that domestic violence. And the only reason I had sexual relations with him is because I just was so afraid of him. Give me a break, y'all. Give me a break. Lori says, he released the storm on me. It was a terrible storm. And we're not talking about the storm where he burned the limb debris and shot a raccoon. No, let's not look at that. Let's look at the storm that Chad did to me. I couldn't feel nothing, but it still was very violating. Oh, Sunflower Sammy says, Gherkin Storm. How you doing, Sunflower Sammy? Oh, my goodness. The other one says she'll sit there and say, someday you'll see the truth over his medallion. Beach Bub says the storm she was looking for was rechargeable. Go get your AAA batteries, Lori. Get a lifetime supply of it, because you know you got those special little things in the drawer there. Sherilyn Softer says, tiny pickle storm. It's not raining pennies, y'all, from heaven. In fact, nothing's raining from heaven on this case other than justice. But if anything is in a storm, it's little itty-bitty cocktail weenies. All right? And then when Chad gets to prison, it's going to be raining Polska kielbasa. Kielbasa, the big old 2-foot-long one that Bubba gives him. Vienna sausage, says Erica. Brats. No, Heather Strock. Bubba ain't got no Brock. He's got one of them big, huge tubes of bologna. That's what he's got. And Chad's going to learn all about crime from there on out. I'm your Oscar Mayer wiener. Oh my gosh. Oh. Miss Milky the Clown won. You're funny. You are funny. I don't know, Bethy Boop. But if he isn't, he'll get that way when he goes to prison. Now, y'all are making me laugh. Y'all start me. Now, I don't know who started it. Maybe I did. I can't blame y'all for this, all right? Again, y'all, the jurors have been seated, and Boyce says today's delay is due to some court business that needed to be conducted. So he's letting the jurors know there was a little delay there. I'm sure when they take their first break, they'll take a big long one. Now, prosecutors called Nicole Heidman. Now, let's stop, because we were going to hear from this DA investigator Edwards. I'm assuming that the state has to allow for this Edwards guy who was going to come in there with an exhibit that's not going to be put into evidence. They've got to give him more time, I'm assuming. But prosecutors called Nicole Heidman to the stand. Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsay Blake will be questioning her. Heidman testified earlier in the trial. Do y'all remember that? Blake is asking her about the James and Elena love story found on the iCloud, y'all. All right. Astra says loin fire is coming. Again, y'all, Nicole Heidman. Now, she had testified before, but right now, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I don't remember. I'd have to really look at my notes, which I don't have any in front of me right now, on all of that. So we'll just see what she has to say. Dale from Shelby, the reason that and this is just my view, the reason the house was so empty that Charles was killed in, remember we saw the body cam, it was pretty much completely empty, is because he had gotten Lori this house in Arizona to be close to her family because she left Texas after getting back with him. She was reestablishing a relationship with him so she could hold on to that $1 million life insurance. Well, when you murder your bread and butter there, she obviously she wasn't planning on staying there very long. She knew she was going to go to Idaho, which to be close to her storm there. Now, Heidman was tasked with organizing the entire James and Elena love story. She put it into a PowerPoint presentation, and Blake asked to admit the PowerPoint. Now, y'all, Judge Boyce, he ruled yesterday that smutty novel could be given as an exhibit to the jurors during their deliberations. Why Lindsay Blake is trying to get this in again, I don't know if that's something they talked about in the judge's chambers, and that she's only going to point out in the presentation actual things that happened that they can confirm through corroboration. Yes, Rachel Black, I think if Charles Vallow would have told Lori that he had changed that, I think there's a good chance he would still be alive. But, you know, hindsight's 2020. Nobody listened to Charles Vallow, and because they didn't listen to him, more murders took place. It's interesting, is it not, that Charles Vallow sounded the alarm, and it was Kay Woodcock, Charles's sister, that absolutely, because of that welfare check and because what she discovered on the Amazon account, it was Charles and his sister Kay that blew this case wide open. Y'all ready for this? Are you ready, Rays? Breaking news. Judge Boyce says court will stream the verdict when it's time, y'all. We get to see it. We get to see the verdict, y'all. There you go. Breaking news, y'all. Judge Boyce says the court will stream the verdict when it's time. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. Oh, my goodness, y'all. We were so concerned about it. Oh, my goodness. So you know that it's going to take them a while after the verdict to do the pre-sentencing report. And we were hoping maybe by then, after she's convicted, that we would see her being sentenced. Folks, if they're going to stream the verdict, they're going to stream the sentencing. Amen. Lord, best news ever, says DD. Paul Top says, thank you, Lord. Oh, whoop, whoop, says Lori Wallace. Y'all, they should. You're right. Oh, my goodness, y'all. I see a lot of happiness on this channel right now. Hell yeah. This is awesome, says Regina Land. Woo, Erica and everybody on here. Oh, my goodness. Dogmon says, yes. Y'all, this is the best news to get on a Tuesday. Oh, wow. Oh, Lollipop Gill saying, thank you, Lord. Oh, this is, Erica. It's the best news. Oh, somebody's happy dancing on here. Oh, LaDonna Nick says, hoop, hoop, hooray. We needed this today, says Jenny Benny. Nita Smith says, fabulous. Private 91 is clapping and happy. Oh, you damn right, PJ Keith. I'm going to damn cover it. You think I'm going to walk away from the Rays on that? I tell you what, we're all going to be getting together, Rays, when her ass is going to the damn slammer for the rest of her damn life. She deserves every damn bit of it. Lori Hussey Daybell is going to be convicted, and we're going to get to see that smug-ass look drain from that nasty-ass Hussey's face. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, my God. That's right, Boho Mays. The world The world is going to see justice. For those just joining us, Judge Boyce says court will stream the verdict when it's time. Yes, yes, yes. And y'all know it'll take a little while after her conviction to do the sentencing because they have to do the pre-sentence reports. That's when we'll have victim impact statements, y'all. And Lori's face is going to be in that. And I'll tell you what, she might act smug right now. She might chat and laugh with her attorneys right now. But when her ass goes down for the rest of her days, she can take that lowercase g shit and shove it. She can shove it. Little lady died, you dang right. It's a gift for the victims and the victims' family members. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. This woman is going to have to face the freaked out, nasty ass, evil music that her and Jad were dancing to. That's right, Jax. We get to watch it. We get to watch it. And this ain't like it was over there yesterday with Letitia Staunch with the way their screens were. We're going to get to see it, y'all. It's going to be full-throated justice shoved down that damn hussy's throat. That's right, Wilton Lettuce. We should have. We should have been seeing this whole trial. But, folks, we didn't want to see this damn hussy have an appeal or anything like that. And it's tough. It's hard, but we're doing the best we know how to do. All of us have sought justice through understanding for so long. This is awesome. So, with this news, let's move forward. Defense attorney John Thomas objects to having the PowerPoint admitted. Remember, this is this woman here who has testified before. Her name's Heidman. She wants to have this PowerPoint presentation about, I'm assuming now, specific points in the smutty novel that can be corroborated, showing Chad and Lori. But obviously John Thomas objects, and Boyce says he will allow the exhibit in with instruction to the jurors that the title of the PowerPoint presentation is demonstrative and is not evidence. Demonstrative meaning, to those that don't know, it's just to aid the jury. It's not evidence. But let me be clear also. Yesterday, he admitted the whole smutty novel for the jurors to take back with them during deliberations. So, this is a good ruling. Lisa says, I'm okay with not seeing the trial if that would lead to a successful appeal. And I agree with that. And the Rays know how brokenhearted we all were when, we couldn't see the trial and all that. I went off the deep end. Of course, I go off the deep end all the dang time. Nicole, there's breaking news. The Judge Boyce has ruled that during the conviction aspect, when the jury comes back, they're going to stream it where all of us can see it. Again, Judge Boyce says the court will stream the verdict when it's time. Thus, y'all, when they have to take time off, because remember yesterday, they went straight to sentencing in Letitia Staunch. Here in Idaho, they have different procedures. They have a pre-sentencing report they got to do. The defense has got to bring people in there to say, poor Lori, don't give her life in prison and all that crap. We're going to get to see that too. Make no mistake, y'all. Make no mistake. Vicki McNutt says, thank God, good news. Yes, y'all. Let's hope not very long that the jurors will deliberate. People couldn't understand why it took Letitia Staunch's juror members this long. But, folks, we just want a just verdict. That's all we want. That's all we want. Yes, Roxy. Lori will rot in prison just like Letitia Staunch. Now, Blake is questioning Heidman, okay, about the story. Blake says, in the James and Elena story, it begins on October 26th, and there are multiple images on October 26th of Chad and Lori at a conference in St. George, Utah. Chad Daybell was a speaker at the conference. In case you're lost, Chad referred to himself as James and Lori was referred to as Elena. So let me recap this. There's been an objection for this lady, Heidman, who's coming in with a PowerPoint about the smutty novel. The judge is allowing it, and they're already starting to set up the foundation of it. Chad and Lori in this smutty novel, if you haven't read it, was James and Elena. And it's nasty. It's pathetic. But there is a lot of factual stuff in it that they actually did that can be corroborated. Now, Blake shows the jury in the courtroom a photo of Chad surrounded by Lori and other women at the conference. Thank God for Nate Eaton, says True Court and Crime Junkie. Yes, Nate has been consistent. It really helps to do this and then listen to the audio later. And think about it, y'all. We're getting this case differently than what we're used to getting. So there are other senses at work here, y'all. We have to really understand that this type of trial, this tragic, terrible case is being brought to us differently. And perhaps, just perhaps, it was always meant to be this way. Rebecca Dabbs is, that's a great point, Rebecca. You're talking about Chad Daybell. Well, the breaking news is the verdict's going to be live streamed where everyone can see it in his damn queen's case here when she's convicted. Make no mistake, Chad Daybell's ass is going to pucker. And he's going to have to keep that ass puckered when his ass is going off to prison. In the James and Elena story, James Google's searched Elena. Heidman says that's consistent with Chad Googling Lori. In the story, James authored a story. Chad also authored a story, Heidman says. So what Heidman is trying to let the jurors understand, initially, foundationally, is this is Chad Daybell talking about himself and Lori. Don says, please let the sentence take place on June the 9th. Think about that, y'all. That's a great point. That is a great point. Yin Yang says, Chad's writing is like a mess, like hormonal stormtroopers in distress. Our channel poet, Yin Yang. Can you believe this, Yin Yang? We got some great news today, y'all. My heart is just so lifted up right now. It really is. I just wish I could explain to y'all how I'm feeling. We had this hanging over our heads wondering, but now it's been answered. Chad and Lori went to the temple on November 16th and 17th, according to temple records. In the story, James and Elena went to the temple in mid-November. And this is bared out where people that are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if they have a temple recommend, they have a card that they swipe in and out. So this bears out on November 16th and 17th of 2018. They went to the temple. Of course, we know Melanie Gibbs says they Did a ceiling in a waiting room with Moroni and Jesus Christ, which is a crock of shit. Do you think Moroni and Jesus Christ wants to go into a waiting room? I don't think so. RDNAC, I would like to see 3 inmates in one cell. I'd like to see Jodi Arias, Lori Hussey Daybell, and Letitia Staunch fighting over their socks or their damn lotion or their stupid other things that they get at commissary. I'd like all 3 of them to be in the same cell. Well, Diamond Eyes, when you say with wife Audrey, right. Audrey was Joanna, don't you know? She's married to Jesus Christ. Give me a break. Give me a break. I don't know which Jesus Christ they're talking about, because I know my Jesus. He saved me from myself. He died on the cross for my sins. And people can believe whatever the heck they want to believe, or they don't have to believe nothing. That's their life. I know what my life says. Yes, Hope Grace. Audrey Bartello was more involved than we initially thought. In the story, James stayed at Elena's house during the conference. In real life, Chad stayed at Lori's house during the conference. Blake asked Heidman if there were similarities to travel between Elena in the story and Lori in real life. Elena traveled to James' hometown in the story. Lori traveled to Idaho Falls, about 30 minutes from Rexburg. So again, y'all, this witness for the state, this Heidman woman, is establishing that it lines perfectly up with it. You know, Chad and Lori want to hide behind these damn code words or these other names. They want to dress up the fact that they want to hurt children and cause children pain with a bunch of garbage, a belief system. It don't matter. When the rubber meets the pavement, it don't matter what you dress up. Conspiracy to commit murder. It is what it is. That's right, humble travelers. Melanie Pulowski's kids were dark as well. And Gibson says Audrey Bartero is Chad's side chick. Yeah, I believe that. That John Pryor's having to fill Chad Daybell in, you dang Skippy. I'm telling you, truth is stranger than fiction, Sheila Forrest. I'll tell you what, y'all say some things that are just going right along with it, y'all. It can't be about what I have to say. It has to be what we all say. In the story, James traveled to Arizona to do a podcast with Elena and her friends. Chad traveled in January of 2019 to Arizona based on flight records, and a podcast was posted online that same month. Heidman says, along the lines of Chad Daybell, participates in a podcast about his life experiences with Lori. I'll tell you what, Jax. I'll tell you what. Demon possession. Demons don't like children either, because they're the most in the kingdom of heaven. You can be sure of it. Well, Terry Ward, Melanie Pulowski is still under subpoena. And I just pray that she gets blown out of the water. Blowed out of the water. Now, Blake has asked a few times if there were descriptions of intimate interactions between James and Elena in the story. And Heidman says yes. Lindsay Blake might want to tread on it, but really what it comes down to is horny sexual crap. It's disgusting. That's right, Roxy. Jesus Christ said what he said about the children. That's right. You're right about that, Black Cat. Chad had to get off, didn't he? Yes, Marcella McNeil says, I see the hand of the real Jesus overseeing things. Yes, he sits at the right hand of God. All power has been given to Jesus Christ over heaven and earth. And he is coming back. Y'all notice that all this end of the world shit and all this other stuff really kind of took a back burner there when Chad and Lori. It was never about it, y'all. You know, when they came out initially and talked about the doomsday mom and all this, we were like, how could she do this? Maybe she did it because she really thought it was the end of the world. No, their actions through all of this, they were just going to start a new life. And they got themselves off along the way, don't you know? They wanted to lay a foundation for their relationship on the dead bodies of children and Tammy Daybell and Charles Vallow. These are my views. Blake asked to admit messages found on the iCloud account, and Thomas is reviewing the documents before they are admitted. Carrie Richards said, this is for Tylee and JJ. This is for you, children. Amy Long, there's been breaking news. We're going to get a live stream of the verdict in this case. In other words, we're going to get to see Lori go down. Right. Dale from Shelby says, actions speak louder than words. You're right about that. And you will know them by their fruits. Now, Thomas says he renews his previous objections to having the messages admitted, and Boyce overrules the objection and will allow the exhibits in. Me too, Moose Girl. I'm very happy about this breaking news. I've got a pep in my step, although I'm sitting on my behind right now with all of you. Hijack the religion and abuse the name of God. I hope they will marinate inside their pod, says Yin Yang, our channel poet. Excellent, Yin Yang. Excellent. Yes, Jenny Benny. Judge Boyce is on a roll today. I think he's probably been counseled with his staff attorney there. Dodging bullets. Wonder what Lori's thinking now that we got this breaking news? Well, don't you think this news would prompt Miss Hussey there to want to take the stand? What do you think, huh, Dodging bullets? Huh? Goodwill Squatter says Judge Boyce's 80s Wheaties. DK LTX 1984 says JJ's birthday is May the 25th. Yeah, DD Sunshine. I imagine Lori's probably thinking about that. What am I going to wear when I get the verdict that I'm not guilty, and I give my attorneys a hug and I walk out of the courtroom? I walk down the stairs to a waiting car, and on the way out of town, I think I'll pick up my dead children out of the freezer. Give me a break. The first message Blake displays was from Lori to Bubby. Lori is sending a message to Bubby. Chad Daybell on August the 9th of 2019. And she says, that is pretty incredible. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. The fire is definitely burning. I miss you way too much, says Lori to Bubby. Chad Daybell. What's on fire, Lori? That hellhole of yours? What's on fire, Lori? You ready for this, y'all? Lori says to Chad, you have to stop, or I might explode. The next message from Lori to Chad is, the intensity of each encounter in my mind, one greater than the last. Fire emoji, especially this last one. I've never loved you more. It just keeps growing. What have I told y'all? What have I told you? I've been saying it. These are two horn dogs here. They not only get sexually aroused in talking about hurting children and causing children pain, even in the testimony we've heard Friday and Monday, even Lori's starting to question whether Alex has gone dark. Give me a break. And the next message back is from Chad to Lori saying, I completely agree. We were definitely new territory in your bedroom. And Chad goes on to say to Lori, Elena's magic hand has gripped the storm. Barely able to breathe as intense waves wash over them. And Lori says to Chad, yes, she did. Lori's getting a hold of that little stick shift there, sticking it into overdrive, don't y'all think? I'm telling you, it can't get no more sick than this, y'all. What the hell did any of these people out here in the world hearing about this case expect? Every damn day, it's a crazy ass damn thing going on, y'all. Chad says to Lori, I love you, Elena. What a wonderful chemistry we share. Fire emoji, fire emoji. And then Lori says to Chad, I love you more. That's so hot. I need you now more than ever. Heart emoji, heart emoji. And then Chad says to Lori, you are amazing. Please save that segment. I want to read it with you naked and relive it all. Nate Eaton is letting everybody know that this witness Heidman was talking so fast that I missed the first message Chad sent to Lori. It was about intertwined bodies, breathing heavy, and spending intimate time together. Poor Nate Eaton. Bless his heart. He's having a day to tweet this stuff out, y'all. I just love Nate Eaton. I just love him. Oh. Right, everybody's getting sick on the live stream here. Hey, y'all, look past this horny, nasty stuff and look at the fact that these two, in August of 2019, think about all the text messages we heard yesterday where they're talking about hurting children, causing Tylee to have a virus put in her, and all this other stuff. You just got to look past the nastiness to see the evilness on display, y'all. Yes, dog mom. Sex, money, and power. That's what Lindsay Blake said. Black Cat says it's weird and it's sadistic. Yes, it is. These people are nasty. They're absolutely nasty. So they should fit right in with someone in prison who feels the same way as they do. Maybe they have a little different belief system, but it all comes down to sex, doesn't it? Yes, Gloria Fritz, you're right. Nate Eaton is so awesome. And think about this. Lori is hearing this as she sits at the defense table. Yeah, some of y'all might think, oh, KJ, she's probably getting aroused. No, this is probably really embarrassing for her because anything that makes her look bad, she can't stand it. And I hope she is feeling pain because she sure as hell didn't have a problem getting sexually aroused when her and Chad are talking about causing other people pain. There will now be a potential objection by the defense that needs to be taken up outside the presence of the jury. Jurors are leaving the courtroom, and y'all, I don't know what it's going to be, but in some ways, maybe y'all don't want to hear it, but I'll say it. This talk that I've just been talking to y'all about that makes some of us feel sick, some of us are embarrassed to hear it. The bottom line is it's very, very well possible that John Thomas is saying that this is prejudicial or inflammatory, and it's way over what should be testified to. Just a guess. Beach Lady, yes, the state does have to bring out in testimony the adulterous affair. But what we're talking about is, don't you think that's already happened? This stuff here, this extra stuff, really lays it on thick. Probably more than it needs to. But Judge Boyce admitted it. He looked it over. So I don't know. Blake asks for a recess so prosecutors can confer as a team. So we're getting a recess, y'all, and we're only, it's only 9:33 in the morning there in Boise, Idaho. They ain't even been an hour into testimony, and they're already taking a recess. Archie says it's a good contrast between their actions, and we're not talking about Archibald. We're talking about one of you named Archie on here. Veronica saying, good Lord. Yes, Mary Bono, that's right. Blake asked for a recess so prosecutors can confer with their team. Humble Traveler says, fire squad for the storm. Liza Joe, this is her name is Heidman, and she has testified before. Let me get her full name there for those that are just joining us. Nicole Heidman is on the stand. She testified earlier in the trial. It doesn't say who she is, though. But her name is Nicole Heidman. And she was tasked with organizing the entire James and Elena love story. She put it into PowerPoint presentation. And Judge Boyce has admitted it. Now, let's also remember that yesterday Judge Boyce said we didn't have to hear the whole thing and that he was going to include the whole smutty novel as an exhibit so that the jurors would have it if they want to go through it during deliberations. Riders on the taco. Riders on the taco. Liza Joe, you have to look at conspiracy to commit murder and what that means according to Idaho law. It's been demonstrated day after day after day. So I understand some people on here want to see direct evidence that she was hands-on in the murders. But she has egged this thing on. And she didn't have to, all she had to do was agree to the plan. She didn't have to do anything further. All she had to do was agree on the plan, and only, it's 2 or more people agree to do a criminal act, and then only one of them, only one, does one overt act into trying to complete it, okay? And we know Alex Cox and Chad Daybell are those people. So the jury is going to get a definition of conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder. And remember, Lindsay Blake made it very clear in her opening statement, Lori doesn't have to be hands-on in first-degree murder. It's aiding and abetting and all of this other stuff that's akin to conspiracy to commit murder. And let's just look at it like this. Lori is facing charges of conspiracy to commit murder on the children and first-degree murder on the children. And say that the jury said no first-degree murder, but conspiracy to commit murder, guess what? According to Idaho law, the penalty for that is the same, exact same thing as if she got convicted for first-degree murder. I know it's a little confusing, but I feel like she's going to be held accountable on all charges. The financial crimes, that's in the books. That's in the books. There's no way she can get out of them. And according to what I see, the state has proven their case. Come on, baby, light my loin fire. Come on, baby, light my loin fire. Trying to set the night on fire, but I've got a little gherkin to share. And when Lori takes a look at it, she has to care that even though it's tiny, we need a microscope. I won't be the one who acts like the dope. I am the storm. I am the storm. King of the load. King of the load. Trailers for 50 cents so I can put them over the grave sites and pour a concrete slab. Rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, blah, blah, blah. I ain't got no cigarettes, but I got GHB to share. And I'm gonna get sexually there. King of the load. Y'all, Nate Eaton wants everyone to know that while he's waiting in the recess, there's a woman on Twitter who has a dog named Storm, and this trial has ruined it forever. During the break, Lori is chatting with the defense investigator and looking at a laptop as her attorneys stand behind her. She's chatting, all right. Heidi's mind says, is it a storm or is it just a flash flood? Donna Krantz says, give me a break. Right, Jennifer Sukup. Oh, poor puppy. It's going to need therapy. Maria P says Lori's a walking petri dish. Black Cat said, it's a sad trickle now. Deb, I think that woman whose dog is named Storm will be just fine, I think. Felicia, I haven't really had anything for breakfast. I'm just happier than hell, y'all, that we got that breaking news. That's what, I'm feeling good. Now we can see the hussy go down when they read that verdict. Yeah, Susan Weaver. I guess Chad knows all about those premature moments. Joanna, the breaking news is that Judge Boyce has announced that the verdict on Lori Hussey Daybell will be live streamed. Everyone's going to get to see her go down. She's going down. Don't let nothing make you sick now, Roxy. TX Jackson 72, I'm in your corner on that. There isn't a whole lot of evidence leaning toward conspiracy to commit murder on Tammy Daybell from Lori, but it ain't because she was in Hawaii. That's not the reason. But she is talking with Chad. Remember yesterday's testimony? He's talking about how, she's getting close. And Lori is egging him on by saying, is this God's will that I have to wait forever? This is just killing me, Lori she's trying to make Chad move forward in this conspiracy. She knows what he means when Chad is saying, when I see the differences, Tammy's numbers getting lower and lower. Do you think that the jury could obviously see that Lori is continuing to move forward on this, even down to when they have these lover spats before Tammy dies? Lori's trying to keep the nookie away from Chad to get him to move forward. She's already murdered her kids with the help of Alex and Chad. Now it's his turn to bring home the bacon, right? Now, Boyce is back on the bench, and Blake says prosecutors will not be admitting the exhibit, and she is done questioning the witness. Jurors will be brought back in, and you know what? These jurors can't unhear what we just heard. Unless Judge Boyce tells us these jurors, when they come back, to disregard it, I don't think he's going to. These jurors got a earful of the sickness of these evil, diabolical horn dogs, basically. So Blake is saying that they won't be admitting the exhibit, which the exhibit would have been a play-by-play of things that can be corroborated. But I think what happened is the state decided, yes, we're going to put these relevant, real things that actually happened, even though this is a story of James and Elena. But I think they probably added a bunch of smut in there to knock these jurors off their seat, basically. But the jurors are being brought back in, and we'll move forward, y'all. Right, Maria P. The break gave the jurors enough time to puke. Casey Jake says also Lori was tied to text about insurance payout for Tammy. Yes, there's a lot of different evidence in this case that has been testified to. But T.S. Jackson 72, I understand where you're coming from on that. That's right, Susie Adrian. It's quite clear. Lori wasn't manipulated. She was all in. And she was the one that was getting Chad. Chad figured out that Lori liked to talk about the kids and how they need to turn to zero. Are they at zero yet? Which means they're going to die, right? Chad knew that that excited the hussy, don't you know? That's why if he ever brought it up, it was because he wanted her attention again. But she initially brought all this up to Chad. Chad didn't bring it up to her, which says everything to me. John Thomas has no questions for Heidman, and she's released from the witness stand. So who's next, y'all? Will it be this Edwards fella? We're fixing to find out who the next witness is, y'all. And what could John Thomas... I mean, I guess he could have said this is just a made-up story, right? But then this Heidman would have said, no, there's a lot of things that are corroborated in it. The travel and all this and that. So if a jury member could see the parallels between the James and Elena story and factual stuff of travel, say for instance, then why wouldn't they believe the rest of it? You see? All right, y'all. Our next witness is Attorney General Investigator Nicholas Edwards is called to the stand, and Lindsay Blake will question him. Again, he wanted to bring in an exhibit of a presentation, but Judge Boyce said yesterday it couldn't come in because it looked more like a closing argument. Yes, Susie Adrian, great point again. Chad told on himself with the burning limb debris and the raccoons. I mean, he's a dumbass, you know? He's just a dumbass. But he better learn something. He better educate himself before going to prison for the rest of his life. And he better dang bend over whenever Bubba wants him to. I would like to see the whole group go down Lisa Taglaboo, but I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm trying to focus on this good news today because if I get to thinking about these cult members, it pisses me off. Now, Edwards is currently deployed with the United States Army. When he's not on military orders, he's the lead investigator at the Idaho Attorney General's office. He's worked since 2019 at the Attorney General's office. He previously worked at the Pocatello Police Department. Yes, Jack Clinton. I am glad they were so stupid, says Jack Clinton. And just think, if they'd have been a lot smarter, then there wouldn't be what they got. I mean, it's really overwhelming evidence. Edwards describes where he went to school, his training background, and law enforcement experience. Humble Travelers thinks Lori's loins are like a dusty squashed moth. Y'all really are something. You know that? Y'all are hi, Tara Santmeyers, Beach Bum. Planemaker 101 Fly. Yeah, you're right. I'm hoping that this trial and the content in this trial opens a lot of people's minds to being educated about how people out here in this world, they take their belief system into criminality and lawlessness and murder. Yes, I think people should get smarter. Now, the Attorney General's office was asked to assist in the investigation of Tammy Daybell's death in April of 2020. When Edwards became involved, he was aware that the FBI, Rexburg, Madison County, and the police in Arizona were investigating 2 missing children and the death of Charles Vallow. Jack Clinton, that's what everybody hopes, that these other cult members get what they deserve. I'm a big believer in what comes around goes around. Some people call it karma. I just say what comes around goes around. Kerry Geib, a status conference will be held for Chad, and he'll be joining in Zoom. When is this? And where did you hear this? Because he's already had a status conference. And Judge Boyce hasn't made a decision on the court date yet. But are you saying there's another one coming? Roberta Senecal, can you imagine what Kay Larry must be feeling right now? OMG. Yeah, and Cresha K. Easton of Difficult Research, y'all. Now, Edwards learned Tammy was married to Chad Daybell, and they were raised in Utah. They had 5 children and moved to Fremont County, Idaho in 2015. Edwards learned Tammy worked at an elementary school as a librarian and technology specialist. Edwards learned Chad and Tammy were married, and Edwards later learned Chad married Lori. Yes, Astra, I believe that. Larry, Kay, Cresha, Kobe, they're all going to have powerful impact statements. I believe that. I truly believe that. Casey Jakes, if Chad would have said the children have zombies, Lori, and we've got to get rid of them, just save them because they're in limbo and all that, all Lori had to do, and it's been showed throughout this whole case, that she was on equal footing with Chad. All she had to do was say, no, Chad, I get a different revelation. Because you think if she would have said no, Chad, that he wouldn't have said, oh, okay, Lori, because he's getting some of that nookie. Don't you see? He wanted to please his queen. Lori wasn't talked into anything. She wasn't manipulated into anything. I'm just telling you, she was in it knee deep. Edwards learned Lori was the connection between Alex Cox and Chad Daybell. Edwards learned Charles and Lori initiated a divorce in February of 2019. There were never any divorce proceedings between Tammy and Chad, says Edwards. Yes, Black Cat. People need to look back before Lori met Chad. She'd been diabolical before even meeting Chad. And she already believed in a lot of this other stuff. The light and dark scales and all this new stuff Chad come up with was just added to her. She believed in multiple probations before meeting Chad. So, and, this whole thing about, are they going to be able to prove that Lori conspired to take Tammy out? Well, it says here, this Edwards guy on the stand says he reviewed messages that showed Chad urged Tammy to take a trip to Utah to see her parents just weeks before Tammy died. And you think Lori didn't know anything about this? You don't think this doesn't harken back to Lori talking about Charles and JJ dying in a car accident, and Chad telling Lori that, that Tammy was going to die in a car accident? And let's keep in mind, Lori came up with this, that Charles was going to die in a car accident with JJ. Chad didn't put this in her ear. Well, Emma and Kat, everyone on this stream is the best. And I say this with all my heart. Blake asked to admit an exhibit containing messages related to Edwards' investigation. The defense does not object to the exhibit, y'all. I'm shocked. Maven or whatever, that's a great point. After the children were murdered, if we're seeing any text messages between Chad and Lori or Alex or Melanie Pulowski or Audrey Baratario or anybody, do you see anyone in there going, where's the kids staying now, Lori? They knew. Melanie Gibb and Zulema, David Warwick, all of them. They knew. They knew the deal. That's common sense, y'all. Good morning, Rosebud. Thank you, Planemaker 101 Fly. I love everybody. I do, even people that don't like me. In fact, it takes a lot to really love. But then again, y'all, it ain't me developing it. To me, God is love. And anytime I love anyone, I feel like that, the good Lord is making that possible. Because this old sinner here, this person, Badger, this goes back to Lindsay Blake's opening statement. One of those 3 reasons was sex. You have to ask the question, what moves a person forward in a conspiracy to commit murder on anybody? They've got to be really, really enthusiastic, an evil enthusiasm, so to speak. They got to rush. That's what serial killers do. They dehumanize and they find sexual pleasure. A lot of them do, if not all of them. This goes back to trophies and all, so they can relive it. You got Chad telling Lori, you're going to have to keep that segment because I want to relive it. You think that little portion of that didn't spill over into other things? It's disgusting. They thought they had the power, y'all. They thought that they were going to be able to play God, lowercase g, and it made them feel good until it didn't, until they were arrested, and now they're fixing to go off to prison for the rest of their life. The first message we see is from Chad to Lori on October the 3rd. That's the day after, y'all, the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life, that Alex went into Arizona and tried to do that. He says, "Good night, Angel Lily. So excited to go on our date." Fire emoji. And then 2 days after that, on October 4th, a day after that, on October 4th of 2019, Chad wrote to Lori at 4:20 a.m., dreaming of caressing you in bed. I adore you. And Sholow you, heart emoji. It's SHOLOW, y'all. I don't know if Nate's done a typo here, but he says, dreaming of caressing you in bed. I adore you. And Sholow you, heart emoji. On October 4th, the same day he sent that to Lori, Chad is urging Tammy to visit her family in Utah. Yes, Jennifer Esslinger, the kids do. Chad's kids need to listen to all this. But ultimately, they either are and are waking up and smelling the coffee, or they're not and they're staying in denial. Or they are and they're still staying in denial. The attempted shooting of Tammy happened on October 9th of 2019. She was killed 10 days later. Edwards reviewed the Homer J. Maximus account linked to Alex Cox. He says the device visited Sportsman's Warehouse on the day of the attempted shooting. Edwards never found any connection between Alex and Tammy. So again, y'all, the jurors are left with, well, this is Lori's brother, but we also have evidence that Chad was friends with Alex. So there you go, y'all. It was the threesome there. They were conspiring all of this stuff. It's clear. And a juror should very well see it, I think. So when Edwards is telling the jurors that he saw no connection between Alex and Tammy, what is a juror to think? Either Chad got Alex to go shoot at Tammy on October 9th of 2019, or Lori got Alex to go shoot at Tammy, or what? Alex Cox is just going to take it upon himself? He's not going to care what Chad wants. He doesn't care what Lori wants. He's just going to go do this by himself. Give me a break, y'all. There was no benefit for Alex to go and do this by himself. And it was no benefit for him to go and murder the children either. There was no benefit to him per se when he shot and killed Charles Vallow. And the reason I say per se is because he knew that if Lori collected that $1 million, she'd share it with her brother. Blake asked to admit another exhibit that Edwards created. Thomas objects, says the presentation is cumulative and a rehash of things that have already been said by other people. Yes, Jack Clinton. Chad, Lori, and Alex were the evil amigos. Ryan Freeborn says Alex must have been extremely naive or slow. Yes, Alex did have brain issues, y'all. You could just tell. Before it was confirmed, you could tell just by the way he talked and the way he looked that something was not right. Now, Lindsay Blake argues it's not cumulative, and Boyce says the exhibit will be allowed in as a demonstrative exhibit, but not as evidence. And again, a demonstrative exhibit is only there to aid the jury members. It's not evidence, okay? And the reason I repeat these things is some people want to learn Oh, KJ had to learn it. I've learned a lot through my research and analysis, and I've learned a lot from the Rays as well. That's right, Just Samantha. Lori's verdict will be streamed. We'll get to see it. That's right, Erica. There's no way it could have just been Alex. That's what Lori and Chad want. They want to use him as a scapegoat. But when you take into totality all the evidence of how far Alex was up his sister's ass, so we are now waiting on the exhibit that Judge Boyce is going to allow in as a demonstrative exhibit from this investigator from the DA's office, Edwards, okay? Yeah, dodging bullets, that is a theory and hypothesis that many people have embraced, that they wanted Alex dead. Remember, y'all, yesterday's testimony. Lori was asking Chad, she said she had a bad dream. She thought that Chad should check on Alex because she felt like he was turning into a zombie. That tells me right there, if you take all that bullshit aside, Lori's basically asking Chad, do you think we need to kill Alex? I look past all of the crap of their endorsing and espousing these beliefs for the purpose of murder. I look at what it actually means. Donald Krantz, that is my theory, that Alex Cox killed himself. That's mine. But other people think Zulema helped him along, or somehow Chad and Lori got Zulema to do it, or something to that effect. But I think Alex killed himself. Yes, Black Cat. Chad's blessing of Alex it sounded like last rites to me. Little Lady Di says, I believe that Alex took something. The other one says Zulema killed Alex. PJ Key says that's why Alex went to Mexico. Amica Cream, I think Alex consumed something. That's what I think. For all we know, it could have been anything. They only did the regular toxicology screen on him. They went above and beyond on Tammy's exhumation, but they didn't do that for Alex Cox. Remember, y'all, Alex was in Arizona when he died in Zulema's house. So, Arizona did what they did. Maria P., I don't know if Alex Cox had insurance, but I do know when I first started covering this case, there was a hearing, and it had to do with the settlement of Alex's estate, and Zulema was listed on it, but it only had the title of that they were going in on that, but you could never get the information. It was probate court is what it was. And I actually saw that it was scheduled. But you never could get to what was all said or anything else. There are some technical issues, so we aren't able to see the exhibit. Edwards will describe what is on it. Between 9:12 a.m. to 2:28 a.m. on October 9th and 10th, there were 90 calls between Alex, Chad, Zulema, and Lori, y'all. Now, you think about that. October 9th and 10th. All that time. It just so happens on the night Tammy is shot at. The day after, they're probably regrouping, y'all. They got to figure out how they're going to take Tammy out for her insurance. Because when you're talking about 90 phone calls between Alex, Chad, Zulema, and Lori, you know it, folks. These people, they're so damn evil. Chad and Alex were texting each other all day, and their devices were together in the afternoon. So if their devices were together in the afternoon, y'all, Chad and Alex were together. Not to mention they were texting. 4 messages between Alex and Chad were sent the night of October 9th when Tammy is shot at, y'all. And somebody wants to say, well, maybe Alex did this all by himself. Then why is he making all these text messages and phone calls with Chad? Edwards says there were significantly more calls during this time frame compared to other days. And Blake asked for a brief sidebar. And guess what, y'all? We're now taking a morning recess. Back in 20 minutes. Jenny Benny, they haven't brought out what the text messages say. Yes, y'all. Another damn recess. They say it's a recess for 20 minutes. So guess it is what it is. That's right, little Lady Di. If you add up all the recesses, the long lunch breaks, and the early days or taking a day off, all those breaks has been more than trial testimony. Right. Zulema's not calling Lori just by chance, coincidence, asking Lori for a recipe. I don't even know if Lori even knows how to cook. Right, Susie. They're going to be back in time to call lunch break. I don't know why Judge Boyce does this the way he does, y'all. But KJ does have something to fill the air, okay? No, it's not nothing that's going to make you laugh. But raise. You know, I do everything with purpose. And I ran across some news. And I think if you'll really listen, okay, you might just get where I'm going with this, all right? Here it is, y'all. Now, come on. Give it a chance. You might just see what OKJ sees. Salt Lake City. After her husband died last year, she wrote a children's book on grief. And now she's charged with his murder. This article just came out yesterday. And guess what, y'all? This is a woman who's an LDS author living in Utah. Corey Richens was arrested on Monday in Utah and is accused in charging documents of poisoning her husband with a lethal dose of fentanyl at their home in Camas, a small mountain town near Park City. Prosecutors allege that Rysons called authorities in the middle of the night on March 2022 to report that her husband, Eric Rysons, was cold to the touch. The mother of three told the officers that she'd made her husband a mixed vodka drink to celebrate him selling a home, and then went to soothe one of her children to sleep in their bedroom. She later returned, and upon finding her husband unresponsive, called 911. A medical examiner later found 5 times the lethal dosage of fentanyl in his system. And here's what I want to focus in on, y'all. This LDS author lady, in addition to the murder charge, Rysons also faces charges involving the alleged possession of GHB, a narcolepsy drug frequently used in recreational settings, including at dance clubs. The charges, which are based on officers' interactions with Rysons that night and the account of an unnamed acquaintance who claims to have sold her the fentanyl, come 2 months after Rysons appeared on local television to promote, are you with me? A picture book she wrote to help children cope after the death of a loved one. For a segment entitled Good Things Utah, Rysons called her husband's death unexpected and described how it sent her and her 3 boys reeling. For children, she said, grieving was about making sure that their spirit is always alive in the home. It's, explaining to my kids just because he's not present here with us physically doesn't mean his presence isn't here with us, she told the authors, who commended her for being an amazing mother. Rysons' attorney, Sky Lazaro, declined to comment on the charges. So here we have an LDS author who has poisoned her husband with fentanyl, but they also found GHB that she possessed. Is this coincidence? Is it coincidence that in her belief system, this echoes about Chad talking about Tammy has visited my children. Tammy is on a special mission, but she visits, and all this other stuff. Does this not kind of make it just a little more close to home about, yes, folks should be able to believe whatever they want to believe. But this goes back to the Raisin Eyes research, 2 years ago, where it just seems so acceptable to go ahead and murder somebody because they're going to come back and everything's going to be okay, or they're going to go off to a different mission or something. So it relieves what conscience these people have. To me, it's very, very, it's very interesting that this person has GHB in their possession, and also taken into account, there have been comments in the past where I've questioned how was Alex Cox able to get into Mexico without a United States passport to pick up medicines. And some in the comments says if you go through Arizona, this goes back again, y'all, to Arizona, Utah, and Idaho, this corridor. So, I know maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I'm reaching on it. But again, these people are LDS. They, in this man's obituary, I've read it from top to bottom. He was a very active member along with his wife and children there. And yet he's having vodka at night, or so she says. And also, she's able to find this unnamed person to give her fentanyl, which I am assuming whoever this person is that gave her fentanyl also probably gave her the GHB. These people, they I'm not putting a blanket on everyone. It just seems like this belief system is all about, in terms of these people warping it. Let me be clear about that. That it's okay to murder because they're going to come back and be part of your life. You're going to feel their presence in the home and all this and that. Again, y'all, everyone believes the way they do about when their loved ones pass. I'm not putting a blanket statement on this, but when you add a murder charge, 5 times the amount of lethal dosage of fentanyl, and then you've also been found in possession of GHB, what's a girl to think? What's a girl to think? And I'm going to be keeping an eye on this woman who is an LDS author. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that one because I believe there's going to be a lot of stuff. And y'all heard it here. And some of y'all probably know about this case anyway. But it just came out in the news. It's going to be interesting. If she doesn't take a plea deal and this goes to trial, what all are they going to find out? And on top of it all, when all of this went down in this case, you would think the FBI would look very hard over this illegal, illicit drugs of GHB or anything else that people are bringing back from Mexico. I mean, yes, this could happen. People could be doing this, bringing it back from Mexico that have nothing to do with an organized religion, okay? All I'm saying is that the FBI has got these leads now. They've got these leads, not only in this case that I just presented to you, but also in the case that we're covering. They should be looking at these unnamed people that are providing these kind of drugs and where they're getting it. And again, let's put into this whole little thing that I'm talking about, how many of these people have insurance policies and how many of them sell insurance for a living. I mean, it kind of just says so much to me. It really does. And we're still in a 20-minute recess. Black Cat, I don't know if, maybe there are people in all kinds of religions that believe not to take drugs and all that, right? But maybe this GHB is something that they try to get around. It's a lot like, they're not supposed to have intercourse, sexual intercourse. And so they do the bumping and grinding stuff. They get around all this. Maybe GHB has been labeled to them as something all natural or something, maybe this is something that no matter what your religious beliefs are, that this helps a woman get more in the mood. This would be geared toward a man, basically wanting his woman to take all this. And Astra is asking the question, can this GHB that makes a person feel good, maybe they're mistaking it for a more intense feeling. Perhaps they think they get better revelations because of it. Does that make sense? Good one, Astra. I didn't think about that. Nisa Z says, there are people in all religions who pervert their beliefs to suit their wants, including murder. And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Yin Yang says there are no coincidences in true crime. Black Cat, yes, GHB easily renders people unconscious. What's interesting about this case that I just read to y'all that's just come out, he died of a fentanyl overdose, and yet she has GHB on hand. So I don't know. D. McGowan, yes, GHB is a date rape drug as well. And it just doesn't seem like a coincidence to me, y'all, that they found that in JJ's system. Obviously, I would not want to think, if I could think that that was naturally occurring, I'd much rather think that, because it wouldn't hurt to know that they gave him something. But according to what we know, how evil and diabolical these people are, I'm sorry, y'all. I think the worst. And nothing's a surprise to me anymore. Yes, BH. That is not a coincidence either. If Alex had this heart condition that they say he died of natural causes, and he was going to Mexico, say for heart medicine or for something low, blood pressure medicine or whatever to help him, it sure didn't help him, right? That's why I think Alex Cox took something that they didn't test for in the toxicology screening. And Arizona wasn't going to go any step further and expand their toxicology report because that costs money. Honestly, it really does come down to money in a lot of aspects to me. So we're 15 minutes into a 20-minute recess. It is 10:27 right now in Boise. Her name, if anyone is interested, because I think OKJ's going to kind of keep an eye on this. Her name is Kouri, Kouri, Richens. I guess that's how you say it. RICH, like rich, and then INS. Kouri Richens. They've arrested her ass. And by the way, she's got a hearing coming up on May the 26th. She's sitting her ass in jail right now. Yes, Goodwill Squatter. Thank you for putting that there. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it shook me to my core about them finding GHB in JJ's body. And if we could prove, which we're not going to be able to, but if we could prove that it wasn't naturally occurring, don't you think they would have tried this on Tylee as well? So, and then you've got this person over here in Utah who has this GHB, and it kind of, it connects things for me and my theories and my hypotheses. And so the way that I take it is because I've been drawn to this, I'm going to keep an eye on it. And maybe it will be something that I will fill air with content, whether it be lunches, well, not lunches, but recesses or whatever. I just think that this would be something worthy to continue to keep an eye on. That's a good point, Mavtum, or however you say your name. GHB may be the way they all got crazier. I mean, every time we saw Chad and Lori Young, they looked high. They just looked like they were on something. Maeve? Okay, I apologize, Maeve. Yeah, KKB, we all hope that that Tylee and JJ really didn't know what was going on. All right, Carm. Astra says GHB to knock out until something else does the job. Yes, Diamond Eyes. I think something, I guess this is going to sound silly to y'all, but something inside of me says that this is a connection. I don't, I'm not saying the connection is just GHB or the fact that this is in Utah or this is a LDS author. Those things are really not what's drawing me in. Wish, dream, wish, I don't know. They haven't given any reasons why this woman, this Corey Richens, did this to her husband. What's strange about it is she comes out with the book, the children's book, after his death. And the book is, the content in it is, how to let a child learn that after their daddy dies, that he's still there, that his presence is still there. D. McGowan, it's a very good possibility that there was insurance in place. And what's interesting about it is through my research and analysis, it's not about any religion. I mean, well, I'll say particularly this one. There are a lot of people that get divorced in it and stuff like that. So that's not such a big no-no. I mean, things like that happen. It doesn't make anybody less of a person. So, this whole idea that maybe she murdered him because she didn't want to mess with the way that she was being looked at in terms of her religion, and this was her only way out, I just don't believe that. I mean, folks, she says she gave him vodka that evening. And I know that you're not supposed to drink alcohol if you're in that religion. So, but then again, Nate Eaton says his favorite drink is Coca-Cola regular, but people have schooled me and said this is about tea and coffee. So I don't know. I get confused about it sometimes. No, Momo Shark, they're not back yet. It's been 21 minutes, and that's when Nate said back in 20 minutes. But a lot of people on here says, oh, well, this don't mean 20 minutes. Right, G-Ma Debbie. Can you believe that? And she's got a hearing coming up. And what I'm interested in is specificity. Do they have any other evidence of where she got this stuff from? Could they expound more on her belief system and what she thought really had happened? Is there any evidence? I'm just curious. There might not be nothing. Maybe this is all they've got. But they've arrested her ass. And you've got to have serious probable cause to be arresting somebody on first-degree murder. So, Back to Country says, LDS says no tea or coffee, so they all drink pop. Okay. No hot drinks, I think, says Olive Heatley. Carrie Lynn said she was probably writing the book before he died. Which brings me to another question. Is there any evidence in any of Chad's outlines or journals for any future books that he might want to do? Does it have anything in it maybe about Tammy? I don't guess he's going to be publishing any books, y'all. Yeah, Astra, that would be interesting. Is this woman, does she have this prepper mentality? Because she actually does have the mentality of what Chad was saying about Tammy has visited his children and she's on a special mission and she's visited him and, and we've seen bits and pieces of that throughout. But guess what? You never hear that about Lori saying Charles has visited the kids or you don't hear anything about my children came to visit me after we murdered them. You see what I'm saying? So I got my article from the Associated Press on this Corey Richens. So if anyone is interested, you might keep KJ on the hook a little bit. VC, they said 8 to 10 weeks. This is week 5, and it's day 20 of just the testimony. And as of yesterday, I believe it was 59 witnesses thus far for the state of Idaho. I would say there wouldn't be much longer, and this is why I say this. Because this morning, it was said by Archie there that they haven't made a decision on whether Lori will testify or not. If they're already starting to talk about this, then it must be getting close to the end of the state's case in chief. All right? That's just what I see. So it's been 26 minutes, y'all, and they were supposed to be in a 20-minute break. Hi, Benita Rainey. Benita, I don't know if you know this or not, but they're going to, excuse me, y'all, allergies. They're going to allow cameras in the courtroom for the verdict on the hussy. I don't know if you already knew that or not, but since you said you just joining. Badger likes this 50-minute break. Sorry, y'all. I'm just at home here. That's interesting when people say bless you or gesundheit. They say that in that moment that you sneeze, that it stops your heart. And because your heart comes back after the sneeze, you're being blessed. Isn't that neat? So we're now 27 minutes into it. Thank you, RDNAC and everyone else. I'd say that Chad is close to death. I mean, I'm telling y'all, the death penalty, y'all know and I know, he'll sit on death row if he gets it. That they might not ever actually, Robin Rowe, the only woman in Idaho sitting on death row, it's been 35 plus years, y'all. Oh, the Cokes up on the shelf are like the commemorative ones. Like one of them's like from the Tennessee Vols. They've got different ones. Wayne's got a collection of them in another room where he's been to several World Series where they had the collector, you know what I'm talking about, the collector bottles. Okay, here we are. I hope that answered your question. We're back from the break, and Lori was passionately speaking with her attorneys for a few minutes during the recess. Edwards is likely the prosecution's last witness, y'all. Jim Archibald tells Lori still has not decided if she will be taking the stand or not, y'all. He's repeated it twice, and she's talking passionately, y'all. You know it, y'all. Lori's going on the stand, y'all. I'm telling you, she's going to go on the stand. She has to have the limelight. But this ain't the damn Wheel of Fortune. She don't get to turn a damn letter. She's going to have to sit up there and lie through her damn teeth. Edwards is likely the prosecution's last witness, y'all, in their case in chief. And Archie says for the second time today, y'all, as Lori is passionately speaking with him, saying that Lori still has not decided if she'll be taking the stand or not, y'all. Y'all, she's taking the stand. She's taking the stand. Now, I'm not saying she's going to do it today, but I am saying that Nate is confirming Edwards is likely the prosecution's last witness, y'all. Y'all, this is big. This is big. RD and AC is falling off my chair. Badger Life says, I knew it. Some of y'all are saying Lori can't help herself. Karen L says, Lori, do it, do it, do it, do it. Diamond Eye says, yes, she is. Goodwill Squatter says, huge. Olive Heatley wants to dang rain on my parade here and say, I seriously doubt she will. Dorothy says the same thing. Y'all, what choice does she have? We now see a slide showing a breakdown of the 90 calls between Alex, Chad, Lori, and Zulema on October 9th and 10th. Chad and Alex were communicating between 8:28 p.m. and 9:29 p.m. the night of October 9th. This would have been during and right after the time Tammy Daybell was shot at, y'all. Blake now shows a photo of the front of Chad's house. We now see an overhead image of the Daybell property. Roxy, everybody said, what the hell could Jodi Arias say? And Jodi Arias had a couple of years to think about everything. When she was looking at the discovery, she had to come up with answers. And she came up with them. They didn't float, but she came up with them. So when you say, what could Lori say? She can lie through her damn teeth like she always has. She can make herself out to be the victim. Isn't that what Lori's always done? No, Shan Vanna, remember, Melanie Pulaski is still under subpoena, and after the defense does their case, the state has a rebuttal case, and she is listed in the legal paperwork to rebut Lori's alibi, y'all. So I'm not giving up on this idea that Melanie Pulaski will be there to testify. And I guess this all depends, does it not, on whether Lori is going to testify. If Lori testifies, the state will damn well call Melanie Pulaski in Arizona and tell her to get her ass back. It's time for her to testify. And I think that's contingent. I think Melanie Pulaski will not testify if Lori does not testify. But if Lori does, I guarantee you Melanie Pulaski will. Because I believe she's got a second grand jury indictment being held over her head that does not have to be released to the public, that the state has against her. That's what I think. Edwards learned Tammy usually parked along the long driveway at the back of the property. She would often enter through the back door. On the night of the shooting, she parked in front of the house. This was different than her usual pattern. Astra, I believe it. I believe Archie and John Thomas are trying to tell her, Lori, don't do this. Don't do it. And I think Lori's getting passionate with them and saying, I'm going to protect myself. I didn't do anything wrong. I was the victim in all this. Chad used me. He used me for sex. And I just wanted to believe it. I thought I was saving my kids from eternal limbo. Give me a break. Badger Life, it's not a storm drain that Lori has. It's a sewer drain. It's where all the shit goes, don't you think? Blake shows an image of the Grendel AR gun. Edwards has used AR rifles in the military and in law enforcement. He is a certified sniper and has completed long-distance sniper courses. Edwards says a paintball gun was originally reported in Tammy's shooting. He says a paintball gun and an AR could resemble each other if the base of the weapon looks similar and the hopper, where you feed the paintballs, could be mistaken for a scope. So just to recall, this investigator from the Attorney General's office, he is currently in the United States Army, but he does work for the AG's office, and he's got sniper training, and he's letting the jurors know that they resemble. They absolutely resemble. And let's look at it like this. We don't know if Tammy, what her experience was with guns, whether she said, oh, it must have been a paintball gun, or whether when she went in to get Chad, he probably said, oh, just a kid, that bipolar kid with a paintball gun. We don't know. We just don't know. Blake asked about the email Tammy sent to her son, Mark. During his investigation, Edwards says he spoke with neighbors about paintball guns. They did not own any paintball guns. Blake asked Edwards if he did additional follow-up after the shooting. He says he spoke with many people in the area and reviewed reports. Maria P., I'm beginning to think Chad probably calmed Tammy down and told her that. But see, Emma's husband had already called 911, so Chad had to go along with it. Had Emma's husband not called 911 first, Chad would have talked Tammy out of calling 911. Lisa Tagliabue says, Lori can't help herself. She's a narcissist who needs the spotlight. Yeah, but Artie and AC, that what this Edwards fella is confirming is nobody owned paintball guns. And that nobody that he had talked to in the neighborhood owned paintball guns. Edwards says he spoke with neighbors about paintball guns. They did not own any paintball guns. Blake asked Edwards if he did additional follow-ups after the shooting, and he spoke to many people in the area. Edwards found on the Homer J. Maximus account that a search had been done for a grindle drop, meaning the searcher was trying to figure out what adjustments needed to be made on the scope to hit your target. Scopes were recovered in Lori's garage, y'all. BC, I don't think we've heard of the pastor who married Chad and Lori in Hawaii. I don't think that person has testified. There are many moving parts to this case, y'all. And like I said, I've been praying and thinking about these jurors having to take all this in. BC, I don't recall anyone saying that this pastor in Hawaii who married Chad and Lori was going to testify. Maybe I missed that. Paisley Dreams, I don't believe Lori is a true believer. I don't at all. But that's just me. I believe she will throw Chad and Alex under the bus. Anything she can do to get out of a jail cell. I think she's demon possessed and wants to get out and harm other people. But that's just me. She's got that demon. The demon's not going to leave her. She's going to have to spend her life in prison. The demon wants out to hurt other children and other innocent people. That's just me, though. Blake asked to admit a timeline from 2019 that Edwards created. Jennifer Sukum. If Lori goes on the stand, you heard it here, and I'm sure you would have figured it out on your own anyway. Anything she can do to blow any of these cult members out of the water for their testimony against the Queen, she'll do it. You just make no mistake. If she knows she's going down, she will absolutely take the stand and not only pretend that she's innocent, but she'll also take all these other cult members down with her. She will absolutely blow them out of the water. Yes, Ann Gibson. Lori would even go so far to throw her own mother under the bus. Which, I know that's... She wouldn't actually do that, but it makes a point. Lori's very upset. She's upset that she's got to spend the rest of her life in prison. And she's going to... If she goes on the stand, she's going to. Make no mistake. And really, it's disingenuous for her to get up there. It's comical, really, and pretend she's innocent in all this and that she's the victim. But when she does go off on all these cult members, if she does take the stand, they deserve every damn thing she has to say about them. Remember what she told Melanie Gibb. You'll be held responsible for what you know, Melanie Gibb. Y'all remember that? There ain't no misunderstandings in any of that. Lori was telling Melanie Gibb on that secret recording, you do know, Melanie Gibb, that the children were murdered. You do know what happened to Tammy. You do know what happened to Charles Vallow. Make no mistake, y'all. These cult members know. Thomas objects to the exhibit, but Boyce allows it in for demonstrative purposes, not as evidence. The first slide shows a timeline of October 9th of 2019 from 5 p.m. to 12:28 a.m. on October 9th, y'all, the day that Tammy was shot at. Jody Allen, I'll tell you, we're going to get to see the looks on Lori's face when Kay and Larry Woodcock and Crush K. Easton and other victims' family members get up there and do their victim impact statement. Because when the verdict's read, we're going to get to see Lori's face. And they'll also show the victims' family members and their reaction to Lori being sent off to prison for the rest of her damn life. The attempted shooting occurred around 9:15 p.m. on October 9th. There are lots of calls and texts, along with a casting that Zulema and Lori performed that day. Who was it on here that said what evidence? What evidence that Lori conspired to murder Tammy Daybell? Well, the same day they're shooting at her, Lori and Zulema are performing castings together. It ain't about whether that stuff was real or not, y'all. It was the motivation behind it. The conspiracy. The conspiracy, y'all. As Fremont County deputies are on the scene, there are texts between Alex and Lori, Chad and Alex, and Chad and Lori. At 10:42 p.m., the deputy leaves. There's then a 38-minute phone call between Alex and Zulema. The next morning, there are messages between Alex and Zulema. The casting was being done the night of the attempted shooting. On October 9th, the Homer J. Maximus searched for how to clean an AR and searched for what a Grendel AR might do through a Dodge Dakota. The Daybells owned a Dodge Dakota, and Tammy drove it. Terry Ward, that's a good point. If Lori went on the stand and just started laughing, she'd look crazy, wouldn't she? Well, maybe that's what she wants now that she's dug her own grave. They can't bring up the mental health defense, but she can get up there and laugh and act like an idiot. I mean, would you put it past her? She went 10 months in the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare's facility there, malingering, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there were plenty of rays on here that was concerned that during Lori's trial, that she'd act out and stuff and they'd have to dang declare mistrial or something or send her back to a facility. You know, instead of finding her in her jail cell, playing with socks on her hands like puppets, she's rubbing feces on the wall and jumping up and hopping up and down, you know, on purpose. Big Jed, I don't know why they won't show the text. Blake asked to admit another exhibit. It shows the timeline of events on October 18th and 19th, y'all. So they're showing the attempt on Tammy's life and all the activity between these co-conspirators. And now they're going to show something that just absolutely looks just like it. But on the 18th and 19th, all of this activity, well, they succeeded this time, don't you know? All right, y'all, let this sink in. John Thomas says, He objects to the timeline and asks, Lori was not anywhere in the area, so she had nothing to do with it, which is a crock of shit, because conspiracy to commit murder, she could have been over there on the other side of the world. Those text messages and those phone calls tie her into all of this, y'all. And then they've also got other text messages where Chad's saying, I feel like Dudley living under the stairs, but every so often I get to go out and see my goddess lover. Give me a break. You add it all together, it adds up to conspiracy to commit murder. That's right, dodging bullets. Lori could have been over there in Antarctica, eating on those damn tacos that she sent over there. And just keep this in mind, y'all. The jurors are sitting right there, and Thomas says, I object, because Lori was not anywhere in the area. She had nothing to do with it, right? He's testifying, basically, through his objection, which is a crock of shit. But, needless to say, he said it out loud that Lori was not there and had nothing to do with it, and you can't unring that bell with the jurors. They're going to want to know, why would the state want to say Lori conspired to commit murder on Tammy if Lori's attorney's saying she wasn't even there? Well, this goes back to the definition of what conspiracy to commit murder is. And Gibson says, don't underestimate Lori. She's very cunning, and she will see this as a fight. Lori was in Hawaii on October 18th and 19th. It shows text messages and location activity between 6:13 p.m. and 12:35 a.m. There are texts between Lori and Chad, Alex and Chad, and Alex and Lori. There you go, y'all. There you go. There you go. The conspiracy right there. Shanbana says, seems like Lori runs from everything and has other people handle her business for her. Oh, yeah. Alex was her protector, don't you know? Yes, Kim Nix, can you believe it? It was breaking news this morning. They're going to be live streaming the verdict, and Kim, when they do, they have to take a while after her verdict and everything where we get to see her go down. There'll be a little time, maybe up to a month, where they'll do pre-sentence reporting. That one will be live streamed too, where you'll have victim impact statements and the whole 9 yards. Oh, well, I hope you get to feeling better, Kim Nix. Just drink plenty of fluids. Clear fluids is better. My mother used to say to me all the time, you got to drink plenty of water. Shanbana, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to lay out the rest of the day. I'll tell you this. If this is the last witness and they take the rest of the day off, then it's an indication that they'll start tomorrow with Lori on the stand. Because they'll need to prep her. If, and it's just an opinion. I'm not confirming anything. Yes, daughter of Scotland. Yes, they should decorate Lori's prison cell with all of her victims. Now listen up, Rays. The night Tammy died, her phone is active and playing games at 10:22 p.m. Y'all remember she liked Farmville. At 11:28 p.m., a JPEG is deleted from her phone. There are then texts between Chad and Lori. At 11:46 p.m., Alex is leaving the LDS church parking lot near Chad's house. Alex calls Lori and then talks from 11:53 p.m. to 12:09 a.m. Lori texts Zulema at 12:10 a.m. and Chad texts Lori at 12:35 a.m. Y'all, when I see this, I think about how Zulema's getting out of this. These people need to go down. I just pray to God Idaho does what they need to do with the second grand jury and charge these people with something. Because if they don't, it's travesty of justice. Yes, Roxy, we all want to see these messages. But you think about the increase in activity just of the timing and who was talking. It's just repeated over and over again, y'all. Yes, you have Melanie P. one time, Zulema another, Melanie Gibb and all them. But it's always been Chad, Lori, and Alex, y'all, through the whole damn thing. Joanne 77PL, prosecution built an amazing case. It was so detailed and coming to a conclusion. It's tying it all together, isn't it? Yes. Yes, dodging bullets. Melanie Gibb did know the kids were dead. No one's ever going to convince me otherwise. And you know what, y'all? When I look at these text messages and calls and stuff from this time, you can almost home in on Tammy Daybell's not cause of death, but time of death. We know her cause of death was asphyxiation, manner of death, homicide. All right, people wanted to know what was in some of these text messages. Now we see a slide showing the messages between Chad and Lori on the morning of October 20th. That's the day after Tammy is dead, y'all. Lori says to Chad, "I am missing you more. I need you desperately. I can't wait." And then Lori says, "I need you to hold me tight. That would be great. What about the idea of you coming here, or do you want me to come there?" And Chad says to Lori, "The apartment is haunted. I need to be here to sort out the financials. Please come home Thursday so we can spend the night together." Y'all, how can the jury members take this any other way? How can the jury members not use their common sense, which is pivotal when it comes to deliberations and a verdict? Chad is telling Lori he doesn't want to come to the apartment because it's haunted. Well, wonder why that is. Because they murdered those children there, y'all. And then Chad says, "I need to be here to sort out the financials." They murdered Tammy for her life insurance. And he doesn't need to be going anywhere right now because he's got to call. Remember the life insurance company? He called the day after and all that. He's got to get all that down packed. Thus, after he gets his payout, what's he do? He's hand in hand walking with Lori into Hobby Lobby. And then they're off to Hawaii to get married. Chad says to Lori, I seriously want you to look for a condo for us there that we can return to at the first of the month. And Lori says, I know exactly where we should be. I don't care where we are as long as we're together. And Chad and Lori discuss the Lily workout plan that was mentioned yesterday. They go back and forth about being lovesick and consumed with each other. And then Chad says to Lori, I'm feeling sad, but it isn't for the reason everyone thinks. In other words, he's saying, I'm not sad that I murdered my wife. I'm sad because I can't stick my little itty-bitty gherkin in you, Lori. On October 20th, Lori says to Chad, what's on your agenda today? And Chad says to Lori, need to meet with the mortuary today. I hope to be able to talk after I can get my parents to go home. They then exchange messages over the next few days about missing each other and craving each other with heart emojis. Give me a break. It's disgusting. It's sick, y'all. So sick. Edward says Tammy had 2 life insurance policies and they both paid out. Chad Daybell was the recipient. Edward says Chad and Lori got married on November 5th of 2019. Edwards was involved in the search at the Daybell's property on June 9th of 2020. Karma Camille says a sweaty, grunting fool. Tipsy Tulip says, I hope Chad's children are listening to this hearing. Terry Ward says, sick. It's disgusting, ain't it, dodging bullets? It's just disgusting. These people did not care about human life. All they cared about was sex and money and power. It fits perfectly. When I first heard it from Lindsay Blake, I was like, oh, that sounds so used before somewhere else. But now it does. It makes all the sense in the world. Kathy Hull says, now, Chad Daybell, wonder what a plea deal looks like to you now. Edwards was assigned to search under a tree on the north side of the property. We now see a photo of the ground where JJ's body was found buried. Edwards says he was instructed to slowly and methodically look for a designated spot where they believed a body might be. He could tell the contour of the earth was different, and the grass had been disturbed in the form of a rectangle. And folks, I think it's important. They have said this more than once in this trial. They need to nail it into the heads of these jurors. I don't care how many times they had to repeat it. This is what Chad, Lori, Alex, and the rest of these cult members did. Princess, I would say Chad Daybell's kids are still in denial. Butterbean says, God bless JJ, Tylee, Tammy, and Charles. And yes, even Joseph Ryan. These people should still be here, y'all. And you see who took them out and for what reasons they took them out. It wasn't just for the money. They were obstacles. They were treated like they were dehumanized. Chad and Lori got horny and sick pleasure from talking about causing them pain or giving Tylee a virus, or JJ was almost at 0. These people are disgusting. Right, Joe Kelly. Edwards talks about finding the rocks under the dirt. Under the rocks were some boars, and exposed on his right was what appeared to be the shape of a head in a black bag. Edwards used his hands to sift through the dirt, to dig in the dirt. Edwards says the FBI lead agent cut a hole in the black bag and the white bag, which exposed brown hair. And Edwards says, my experience after that was a flood of emotion, that we found him, and thoughts of my own son, who is the same age. Let me say this again. Edwards says, my experience after that was a flood of emotion, that we found him, and thoughts of my own son, who is the same age. And Blake has no further questions. I've got 3 sons of my own. Yeah, they're all grown up now. But make no mistake, a mother remembers her child when they were 7 years old. JJ could have been anybody's son and is everyone's son in a lot of ways. Thomas will cross-examine Edwards. Thomas asks how he's doing and starts to review his professional background. He says before he was a police officer, he worked campus security at ISU while a student. Maria P. makes a good point. Maria P. says that she doesn't have any boys, and there are people on here that don't have kids or anything that can still have compassion and love in their heart for these victims. I can only share what my life is about and what I see. Well, birthday girl Melissa Krantz, I know you've got a big heart for all these victims in this case. Yes, Beach Bum, God bless us all. Humble Traveler says, I hope Lori gets visited every night by Tylee, JJ, Charles, and Tammy. And probably more. Well, I'll tell you, some people believe the way they do. Lori is possessed by a demon. Y'all, this is just my belief. Y'all can say I'm full of shit, whatever you think. That demon's going to be in her for the rest of her life and is going to torment her and will never leave her body. That demon will stay in Lori. Okay? We'll be very, very happy to be in Lori. When they got caught, I said this time and time again, and the Rays know it. When Chad and Lori got caught, it was a demon in a corner that couldn't get away. Thomas asked which universities Edwards attended for his degrees. Thomas now asking about the timeline exhibit and the text messages between Alex, Chad, and Zulema. He asked what the texts were about, and he says, I don't know what all of them were about. We don't have the content for some of them, Edwards says. And Thomas says, they could have been talking about going to lunch or going to dinner or any number of things. And Edwards says, correct. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. And go ahead and add that to all the other texts and calls they had over a freaking year. Thomas asked Edwards if he spoke with the specific kid who Tammy mentioned in her email to her son, and Edwards says he didn't know who the child was. There was no name. Edwards says he spoke with the Prices next door. Well, I just want to know how many bipolar kids are in that neighborhood. Yeah, they're texting in the middle of the night, don't you know? Just so happens to be when Tammy's murdered. It's all just a big coincidence, isn't it, John, Thomas, and Archie? Lori knows better, but she'll play it off. If she goes on the stand, she'll play it off. She'll have an answer for everything. And you know what? I believe she's going on the stand, but if she don't go on the stand, y'all can say, okay, Jay, you were wrong. Either way it goes, the bitch is going down. All right? I said it. I said it. She just angers me to no end. Can everybody hear me okay? Somebody says that my volume's not on. Can everybody hear me? Everybody can hear me. Y'all let me know. For anyone that's not getting the volume, you might want to click out and then come back in, because everybody else says they can hear me okay. Thank y'all. I'm sorry to bother you with that, but somebody in the comments says I didn't have my volume on. Thank y'all. Thomas asked Edwards if he actually handled the AR firearm. It's a lot heavier than your average paintball gun, Thomas says. And Edwards says, it is. Hi, Sugar Butt Starburst. Burst. My mouth just don't want to do it. Hope your husband's doing good. Really, Charlie? Charlie's got me on my TV and my phone. Well, good. Just don't look at old KJ. I'm about rough looking. But you can hear what I got to say. But most importantly, the comments, y'all. The comments in this live stream will educate you, will teach you a lot. Trust me. I'm glad, Sugar Butt Starburst. I'm glad your husband's getting better. Hi, Miss E. Well, thank you, Charlie. All of y'all are beautiful too. You've got beautiful hearts and spirits. Oh yeah, Humble Traveler says Lori's gonna go on the stand and have her little baby voice. She's gonna go on the stand and go, I I honestly don't know what happened. Chad, he was doing all these naughty things with me, and I thought I was supposed to do it because I've been married to him in a different life, and I'm gonna pretend I'm not diabolical to all you jurors. I'm gonna pretend I don't know nothing. I'm gonna give you the dumb blonde routine. Oh. Y'all think Lori's got her dumb blonde routine down? Huh? Huh? Bullseye, I'm telling you. Lori's going to throw Chad, Alex, and the rest of the cult under the bus. She's the only one that's innocent, don't you know? She'll do whatever it takes because she's got that demon inside of her. Who doesn't want to live inside of a prison where they can only torment other prisoners? They want to. This demon that's in Lori will say anything and all to get out here in society to murder more children or innocent people. That's what a serial killer does. That's a good point, Jay. Lori's days of using her looks and what's between her legs is over. But not really, if you think about it, because when she goes to prison, she'll have to do something to get on somebody's good side. And you know all the different options available that she's going to have to deal with. Yeah, the hussy's going to be in service of several people in prison. You can be sure of that. Yes, she will. Good morning, Sylvia Locken. Some of y'all have some of the silliest comments. Seeking Justice calls Lori the goddess of the block. Oh, I guarantee you. Lori ain't going to be the goddess in prison. Lori's going to be the one that worships these women that keep other women from beating her ass. Okay? It is what it is. Thomas, let's see. Thomas says the timeline, ask about the timelines and ask for clarification on some of the points. He talks about Alex arriving at the LDS church near Chad's house and asks about geofencing. Edwards says he isn't sure about geofencing and got his information from the cast report. And Thomas asked for a sidebar. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Trace on the case. Diane Hannah says, Lori would have wished she'd have took her own poison. Language of Horses says, sit down, Thomas. Here we go again, says Nita Smith. Butterbean wants to see Lori's face all tatted up with those homemade tattoos. I can see Lori now. She's got a tattoo on both sides of her face. And it's of those stiffened mashed potatoes. You know, with a little gravy on them. Big Stick says, I don't think that a translated being is going to do well in prison. 5 teardrops, right? And Gibson says a big Joker smile. Ooh, that's scary. I think that, well, the other one, when you talk about forensic evidence, there wasn't a whole lot, but there was enough. And just remember this, according to Idaho law, direct evidence, which would include forensic evidence, direct evidence has just as much, the direct evidence and circumstantial evidence is given the same weight in Idaho. Okay? And the Rays have heard me talk about this before. Circumstantial evidence being that if you were sitting out on a beach in a chair and you was looking in front of you out there and there was some sand out in front of you but no footprints or nothing there, and you fell asleep on the beach and you woke up and you saw footprints, the circumstantial evidence says somebody walked in front of your chair, okay? So circumstantial evidence in Idaho law is just as damning, if done properly, as direct evidence. And really, how many people have actual direct evidence of someone murdering someone else? Unless you see it, you know, say somebody pulled out their phone when they saw somebody shoot someone on the street. But we're talking about this was premeditated murder. This was conspiracy to murder. This was a multi-layered, sick, twisted, evil, diabolical plan. So, of course, they were going to do their shit in the dark. So, circumstantial evidence is going to bring their asses down. Rosemary Romero, I don't know. It just says that Thomas is back at the stand and he says he has no further questions. Let's see what happens. It is 11:32 in the morning in Idaho right now. So Thomas has no questions for this, no more questions for this Edwards guy. Now we got to see if the state recrosses and wonder whether Edwards will be the last witness in the state's case in chief. We're fixing to find out. Now Blake has some follow-up questions. She asked if other investigators prepared data that Edwards then reviewed, and he says yes. And then Lindsay Blake says, if a firearm jams or misfires, would there be any kind of a sound? And Edwards says a number of things could happen. Blake asked if he found Alex Cox's device at or near the residence on October 9th of 2019, and Edwards says yes, he did. Isn't that great news, Sarah Sutton? That's great news that Lori's going to get to go down right in front of everybody's eyes. Yes, Heidi's mine. You're right. All this time and all the tears. Dodging Bullets seems to think Lori, it's fixing to be showtime for her. Or at least that's there. It's an option for Lori. I believe she'll go on the stand, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's because deep in my heart, I really want her to go on the stand for two reasons. Number one, I want her chewed up and spit out. And number two, I want her to go off on all these other cult members that have left out of here unscathed. That's what I want. I want her to be chewed up and spit out and shown to be guilty as she is. And I want her to take down the other cult members. That's why I want Lori to testify. And I guess also a third reason would be I'm not going to get answers from Lori. I don't believe a damn word that damn horse says. She's a liar. She's got a demon in her, in my belief. Blake asks for a sidebar. All the attorneys leave the courtroom with the judge. Lori turns her back to the audience and writes on her notepad. Are they going back there, y'all, to the judge's chambers to talk about Lori testifying? And I think one of you, please forgive me, I can't remember, but you know who you are, talked about, would this be, they know Lori's up next as at the beginning of the defense's case, and so what, they'll take the rest of the day off? Will they just go ahead and have an early lunch? Will Lori start to testify this afternoon? And if she does not testify, who does the defense have lined up, huh? Yeah, KKB, they've got to have somebody. And it can't be anybody that's going to talk about Lori's mental illness, because there cannot be any talk about Lori's mental health issues. They had to state this before the trial started, that Lori was not going to seek the mental health defense, which is different than an insanity defense, because there is not an insanity defense in Idaho. But she can have a mental health defense. It just needs to be known beforehand. And they said no. So we know there's not going to be some dumb idiot come in there to say, Lori's crazy. Lori didn't know what she was doing. Joe Jordan, Lori Hussey Daybell, she needs to find out who the real Jesus Christ is. And when she does, and if she accepts Jesus Christ in her heart, she needs to confess with her mouth what she's done, the truth. And the Lord will cleanse her of all, absolutely all unrighteousness. That is Holy Scripture. But she won't do it. Number one, she doesn't believe in the real Jesus Christ. Number two, she has a demon in her that she would rather take her over. At any point, she could fall down on her face and really find out who Jesus Christ really is. That's just me. That's my belief system. But then again, this goes back to what I've told the Rays. Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. It's in Holy Scripture. It's unforgivable. It's the unforgivable sin. It's the only unforgivable sin, is blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Does God Almighty, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit think that Lori blasphemed the Holy Spirit? That's for God to decide. I have my opinions. Many jurors are standing up and chatting with each other. Crazy to think that 6 weeks ago, none of them knew each other, and now they've spent every weekday together since April 10th listening to 61 witnesses, countless exhibits, graphic details, and more. You got that right. It's just Robbie. The last fool who wanted to be a lowercase g. Lisa Fisher, I would say there's a possibility that there might be a couple of jurors that might need therapy. The things that they've seen, they can't unsee, y'all. Mohawk Mom, I don't remember if Nate Eaton did give the age demographics, but I believe it's 10 men and 8 women. And they won't know which of all of them, the 18 all together, they won't know who's going to be the 12. I'm assuming they're going to pick it out of a box or a random drawing of the 12. Okay, so attorneys are back and Boyce is on the bench. He says we're breaking for lunch until 12:40, but some issues need to be taken up outside the presence of the jury, so the jurors are dismissed. So y'all will be back here in about an hour. This could be a big afternoon. Y'all get yourself fed, get your chores done. Be here in an hour, y'all. I love you all, and keep on looking.